Welcome everyone. This story is life-changing story. Watching is full story. Imaging the greatest right is history. Spending his own house like a criminal living behind his wife, his children, and everything here ever built. 10 days later, he was found dying on a train Sultan floor. He was 82 years old and one of the greatest writers who even lived. He snuck out is the middle of the night, fleeing his wife and 50 years of marriage, and did alone in a train station. 10 days later, this is the story of Leo Tolstoy's final escape and the family war that drive him to it. October 28, 1910, 30 am. Leo Tolstoy wake in the darkness of his estate. Once knew Napoleon where he had lived for decades. He was 82 years old, frail and exhausted not just physically but spiritually. 4 years had been transferred between two identities. Leo Tolstoy, the literally greatest, author of War and Peace and Anna Karenina of the most celebrated writings in history, and Leo Tolstoy, the spiritual seek a manhood, renounced world's embrace, a short claim and beloved. Private poverty was immoral. These two identities had been at was inside him for decided, but that night the war finally recited its breaking point. Tolstoy mob quality trounced the dark house, trying not to wake his wife Sophia, his wife of 48 years, the mother of his 30 children. The woman who copied his manuscript by hand, who managed his estate, who divided her life to him. Sophia, who he owned, save has the money. Besides, Sophia refused to let go of the property, the wealth, the copyright. She wanted so source their children fondly. She wanted to maintain the estate, the broad, the Tolstoy name, and Tolstoy, who persisted that all property was thief, that wealth cooperated, the sold hard here for it. Their marriage had become a battlefield. Tolstoy wanted to give any all his copyright, make all his work for the public. No royalties, no inheritance for his children. Sophia, who horrified you, leave you on children with nothing after everything I be sacrificed. Their forced concert. Screaming matched Sophia as historical episode. As Tolstoy called him, his cold withdrawal, his dispirited attempt to control what little she called the house at Wisnia Polonia has become a prison for both of them. And on the October 9th, Tolstoy decided to escape at 30 am with only his Diogenes Alexandra and his personal doctor. Tolstoy snuck out his own home. He left a note for Sophia. My departure will distress you. Forgive me, but I could not do otherwise. That was its 48th year of marriage. and he left here a note showing he could not do other wish. They look a courage to the nearest train station and Tolstoy, one of the most famous men in the world, boarded a tried train care with no distinction in mind. He just needed to get out. When Sophia woke and found the note, she confessed, not metaphorically, she literally confessed, charming that the world drowned herself in the pond on the instant. Her children has to partiality restored here. He was 66 years old, and the man she'd divided her entire life to had feed in the nice light a thief. The news spoke equality. Leo Tolstoy had abandoned his family. Journalists scrambled to find him. The world was shocked how cold the men who write to beautiful about love and family have done this. But Tolstoy kept moving, traveling from station to station trying to find place. He died find it on November 1, 4 days into his scrap. Tolstoy became security ill. Pansomania fever at 82 in a frozen Russian Utrecht traveling in an haunted train. Crashed his baby called Taka. It on November 7, 1910 at a tiny railway station. Called as Stopwood, Tolstoy became too sight to continue. The station master, a man named Lebian Ogiline, gave up his home, quieted so the great right cold rest. World sported immediately Leo Tolstoy in doing at a stopped station. What happened next was surreal. Journalist arrived by the dozens, photographer follower to Tolstoy as closely crossed online lookers. The train station became a cross reporter, finding update cameras, documentation every moment. The world watching its own of history. A greater writer Leo doing in a station manager cottage. Tolstoy, a children Rus had to be with him. He discreetly surrounded him, but Sophia, his wife of 48 years, was not allowed to see him. Tolstoy as followers, especially his danger Alexandra beloved Sophia, world upset him. That seeing him would cross states that would kill him faster. So they keep here out. Sophia arrived at Astropaby and was forced to wait outside packing discomfortly as her husband did inside a building she was permitted to enter. She would peer through window, trying to search and glimpse of whom she began to be let in. I just want to see him, just one place. They refused. For days, Sophia waited outside old stronger, surrounded her dying husband. On November 7, 1910 at 6:05 a.m., Leo Tolstoy did. He was surrounded by his discreet, his doctor, some of his children, but no Sophia. At the very end, only after had lost consciousness and could not longer protest, they finally let Sophia into the room. She dared herself in the baby. Sobbing began for forgiveness, trying to speak to a man who could no longer hear. He 48 years of major, and she got to say goodbye only after he was already gone. The world mourned Leo Tolstoy as a giant of literature and philosophy, but his family was left to pick up the pieces of the war he'd created. His children were divided, some sided with his mother, believing their father had been cruel and irresponsible. Others embraced his philosophy and rigid, old as he was. Sergei Tolstoy and the Idiot Son was chosen in the middle. Sergei was a composer, talented, stumbling more conversational than his father. Tolstoy had even been particularly close to Sergei. He wished the rebellious son or the divided disciple. He was just himself, and for Tolstoy that was some way disappointing. Tolstoy saw Sergei as too attentive, too confirmed, too beguiled, too willing to embrace radical philosophy. Though many treated a responsible but distant relationship later visit, but never that deep connection. Tolstoy of his other children. When Tolstoy failed and died, Sergei was left with compassionate grief. A father had responsibility but never could resorted a legacy he was expected to honor, a family torn apart by philosophy and pride. But it was Alexandra Tolstoy, younger daughter, was born. The harvest brother she being her father divided discreep. She did accommodate him when he fixed she'd importance the decision to keep Sophia away from his determined bed. After Tolstoy did, Alexandra spent the rest of her life trying to presumably his luxury and prosperity, but she was also haunted by what she done, keeping a mother from her dying husband. In her later years, she admitted it was a mistake, that her father, a philosophy beautiful in currently has concept real human suffering when applied to actual family relationship. And Sophia lived another 9 years after Tolstoy did. She spent Tolstoy year trying to make sense of what had happened. Publishing here was direct defending herself against Tolstoy, who blamed her for dying. Tolstoy, she died in 1990 during the Russia Revolution in the same house at Vasnia, Polonia, where Tolstoy was filled from here. She devoted her entire life to Leo Tolstoy, copying his manuscript, raising his children, managing his affairs, and in the entire hit filled from here in the model of the night. Here the heartbreaking truth about Leo Tolstoy. He wrote two of the greatest novelists inter writing War and POC and Anna Karenzi stories about the complexity of human relationship, about love and family, and the struggle to love many folk fully, but he could live to values himself. He perfected compassion but showed cruelty to his wife. He advanced for the simple life but created joy for the family. He wrote beautiful about love but filled from the woman who loved him of 48 years, the man who understood human narrative on the page, could envision it in his own home. Tolstoy children sponsorly Sergei, but also the other. We are live within impossibly in Hartmancy, a father who was a genius and a legend, but also a man who chose legacy over family, philosophy over human connection. Sergei lived entered 1947, 37 years after his family died. He had a successful career as a composer. He pursued some of his father's legacy, but he also carried the wages of never quality being intended for Leo Tolstoy, not romance in urgent, not rebellious interest, not divided ingest. To his father, redemption philosophy just a normal man trying to live a normal life, which to Tolstoy was a king of fiery. The story of Tolstoy's final fight isn't really about Sergei Spokrifalty, it's about all of Tolstoy's children chose between their father genius and his impossibly demanded it about Sophia, a woman who sacrificed everything for a man who ultimately rejected her. It about the gap between what we process and what we process. Leo Tolstoy possessed that property, was emotional, that old corrupted, that true spirituality required renouncing everything, but he left his wife and children to death with the prosecutorial consequence of the philosophy. He possessed compassion and interesting, but he showed netherhead to the woman who devoted 48 years to him. He write about the impossibility of final family and love, but he did alone in a train station, having fled from both the photo from Tolstoy or the Tibet taking toast the window of the station manager Kotonji at Estampova. In it, you can see the great right lying on a simply bed, surrounded by people and somewhere outside the frame you cannot. Sophia is standing keep else from here drawing husband by people who believed they cannot better. The photo capitals the tragedy of Tolstoy's final years. A man surrounded by followers, but isolated from love. Today we reminded Leo Tolstoy as one of the generous right who were labeled war and peace, remains and masterpiece of literacy and currency. It still stunted and beloved. His philosophy waiting, inspired and meriting lettered King J.R., but his family, Sophia, Shargil, and his other children paid the price of his guitarless business, generous, don't expensive quality, brilliant interest, don't just full, abandoning the people who love you. And portal supposedly means nothing. If it destroys the human relationship it supported to impossibly. He was 82 years old and one of the greatest right who ever loved. He snuck out in the middle of the night, failing from his wife and 48 years of marriage. He died 10 days late in a train station. seconded by the script and journalist, but not the woman who loved him longest. Leo Tolstoy lost the right about the human heart, but he could understand his own family, and this the thirdly behind the greatest a story as complex and heartbreaking as and made he ever write. Thanks for watching, and please like, comment, share, and